The small town of Pinebrook Pass has evolved significantly since we last looked at it. Implementation of a highway system, a great deal of bus transportation, and expansion along the entire original side of the river has commenced greatly and steadily, including new parks, new sports arenas, and several things that have boosted its population to well over 12,000 people. And with its evolution evolving into big town, high density has been unlocked, and it's time to create a proper downtown system in order to expand, bring in lots more people, and look to the future. Hello everybody, this is Havoc and welcome back to Pinebrook Pass. Now I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what in the heck happened. Did you make another mistake? I did not make another mistake. I decided that I didn't want to do your typical thing where we slowly evolve these cities. Maybe in the future, if these series become more popular, we can take our time, as it were. But for right now, I think we're going to start skipping into large chunks and hit larger milestones of the city, just to build up the channel, build up the series, and make it not so slow paced, as it were, because that was kind of bugging me, and I can tell from the views that it was bugging you guys as well. So to begin with, kind of an overview. As mentioned in the intro, we have grown significantly since we last looked at the channel, last looked at everything. Ooh, the facility is full. Well, hold on real quick. Hazardous waste, let's do that. Area too small, that's unfortunate. We may have to invest into an incinerator. But anyways, you can see now that our population is well over 12,000. And I think one of the best accomplishments that I can have in this channel so far is to say that while I am not perfect at it in any way, shape, or form, that I have built quite the robust bus system that isn't affecting traffic. And I could do an overview of basically my routes, but they do kind of, there's a lot of overlap. And the main reason for that is I simply wanted some overlapping stations that were going to be able to pick people up and do different things across the board. So I do have essentially a bus route hitting all of the major neighborhoods. And within those bus routes, they typically will run into, different commercial sectors. So you can see here, for instance, we have at least 3 different bus systems all coming throughout here, but they do tend to have further reaching. And as a result of that, we have quite a few bus lines. Now, I haven't named all of them, but I do have a few. Oh, that's commercial. You click on it and it just automatically goes. So it's really cool, actually. I really like it. And it's worked out very well so far. We've gone from, at one point, I think I had 60% traffic flow, basically, to now we have, it's not super fantastic, but it's in the high 70s down into the low 80s. And I'm sure implementation of things like tram systems and stuff would work here, but we're actually not going to implement trams in this section of the city. Again, we are sort of role-playing at this point still, to the point where I want to keep things a little more realistic. These urban areas, they wouldn't necessarily, or I guess they're technically rural urban, they wouldn't have the mass transportation systems. In fact, a bus is about as far as it would go. Now, we do have access to trams and trains, and we certainly will use that. But before we get into it, I do want to say we have unlocked large parks as well. We spent some time and thought we'd do some sports parks, some arenas. We could do like a community pool, soccer fields, which are really cool, which we'll definitely do. We don't quite have the space in this area anymore, but once we evolve and push past up into the mountains in this area, which will be a suburban sprawl pretty much on this entire half of the river, then we will be able to evolve that way. I also decided to bump up our production of wood over here. I know I said I would do that at the end of the last episode, never got around to it, and thought this would be the perfect opportunity. Have a nice little exchange here. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy, but I still like the almost symmetry of it, as it does work very well. And we could, let's go ahead and do this real quick. I'm just gonna peel this back for a second, just to add a basic roundabout there. because that does help. It does look good as well. And that way we don't have to, we can kind of maximize everything and make sure that it works as intended. Yeah, that's fine. I thought about doing something, but we don't need to get too crazy. So, the evolution of our downtown is going to begin on the other side of the river. Now, I will say right now that our highway access doesn't quite cater towards that. And so what we may end up doing is creating a loop where we switch our highway access and it comes across, maybe even hugs this rail system, and then comes around and meets us in the middle over here. Ideally, right here, we're making a 4 to 5 way intersection. And I only say a potential for a 5-way because if we really and truly think about it, we're gonna have access that's gonna come along right along this angle. But we still want to push this direction, right? Because this is towards the end of the map. If we took a look here, we took a look at our, there we go. Then we can see that I essentially want to come along here and maybe loop that way, but I still think an interchange is necessary to come in and push north. So that way, when we move into our city proper and everything starts moving a little bit faster, what we're gonna see is that we have several loops of highways that all interconnect with each other. And I think that's important. I think it's crucial for a productive highway system. And honestly, I probably should have bought this section right here just so we could have something more to do with that. Now, what we may end up having to do is, instead of focusing on this loop, we only build this section right here to get our downtown started. And then once I get to level 9, basically, we can unlock this section and really be good. Now, there is an abandoned train station area thing over here that we can totally utilize sometime in the future. And in fact, if we went over to our natural resources, we'll see there's a huge range of fertile land here. And we can totally use that for our cargo areas, maybe even some other industrial minded things, maybe some more production of wood over here. We do have an oil facility, so maybe we'll be able to kind of utilize this as kind of an industrial complex and really keep our like large urban downtown-ish section, push it all the way up into the mountains, which would actually be pretty darn cool. The only thing that sucks is we're losing a lot of farmland. But again, we have farmland here, and I think we have, okay, so that would be it. But that's fine, because if rumor has it that the economic system doesn't actually work, it's really kind of all for nothing at the moment, which sounds kind of doomy and gloomy and whatever, but I think it's something that needs to be stated and that I hope they fix in the future. Regarding our production, you can see here that we have a surplus of wood. We have a massive deficit in food and textiles, basically. Loads and loads of rock, which I did make a new rock mine, which we can expand into coal as well. And then outside of chemicals, plastics, and electronics, which we'll probably get into here soon, we do have a surplus in several other areas. So it's not looking too bad. It's not looking too bad at all. What is this? Old cemetery ruins. Oh, nice. Cool. Well, we were planning on turning this into a park anyway, so it works there. But enough about that. I need to figure out exactly how I'm going to approach this area of the game to make it the most effective that it can be. But before we do, I gotta say, the city looks great in the winter. We're just gonna pause here for a second while I get a sip of coffee, warm my throat because a little under the weather, but I still wanted to get this episode out to you. So we're going to just chill here, and we're gonna take a look at the city chillin' Pinebrook Pass in winter. Looks great. My throat is now much better. All right, so we have to approach this. We do have relatively unlimited money in the grand scheme of things. So I'm not so much worried about that whatsoever, to be quite honest. Our electricity's fine. I believe our electricity's fine. Electricity's fine, water's great, sewage could use some work. But outside of that, our healthcare facilities are rocking and rolling as well. Although an average health of 59, I'm wondering if we couldn't just add more healthcare services. We already have 2 hospitals, and we're not even remotely at capacity. I guess we're at, I don't know. We could probably use some help somewhere. What's this upgrade do? Additional space, more patients. No, we do have an ambulance depot, so they're able to reach them well enough. And then when it comes to fire and rescue, we're doing great. Crime is at 3%. We can't ask for anything better, to be honest. All right, well, enough about that. Enough about the updates to the city. We have a huge amount of demand that we need to adhere to, that we need to work with. And so what we're going to do, we are going to build our highway system. I really wish I would have gotten that so I could build over the railways. But that's okay. It's neither here nor there. Maybe we'll do this as a start in the future and be able to loop up. We'll figure it out. But this is going to take a little while. So sit back, grab a delicious snack, and we are going to worry and figure out how to make this into a wonderful 5-way interchange. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't anticipate this taking so long. I might do a voiceover. If I did a voiceover, you'd hear it while I was building that. But long story short, I'm not disappointed whatsoever. I'm sure, without a doubt, that I'm missing some things, and so I'm sure I'm missing some connections and whatnot. So I'm gonna pause it right here so you're able to see all of the basics. And so if you see a connection that is missing, you see the highways, you see everything that it's supposed to be, let me know in the comments section below what intersections I'm missing, and I'll try and do my best to fix it. However, with that little small screenshot out of the way, this will look really, really good come when those trees mature 100%. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what that looks like. Now over here, I'm wondering if a 3, oh, that might be better. It's just a little bit wonky, and there's a lot of a little bit of wonkiness present throughout this. But overall, I'm quite satisfied with how this turned out. Having this, it is a 6-way. I'm not gonna lie. It is a 6-way intersection. There's a lot going on and a lot that has to be done still. However, I'm okay. I'm really good with it. And I think we're actually gonna probably shrink this up a massive amount so we can have our downtown. It does look like, oh, we have one way is going the wrong way. Is that what it is? It sure is. So we're just going to, nope. There we go. I think that solves almost everything. We of course have the intersections at the end here, which again will expand into and push that direction. But I like it. I don't feel like it's too convoluted. I think some of these interchanges were really, really fun to build. And I really, really think that this is hands down one of my best interactions with the game in City Skylines in general. I don't know that I've ever built anything like this before in my entire life, so I'm pretty proud of it. However, it has soaked up much more time than I anticipated. Go figure, because wow, that's a lot that's going on right here. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to build the downtown area, and we're not going to be able to pursue the ultimate goals that I wanted to of working on our high density. So unfortunately, this is going to be the end of the episode. My children are about to wake up, and I won't be able to continue without massive interruptions, which I don't mind while I live stream, but during edited content, it's a little bit different. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your support and for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the late winter aesthetic while we build this awesome highway. And in the next episode, post your comments. I am going to rename these. These need to be the same highway. It's just, this will be like Robin Highway North, Robin Highway South, etc., etc. So just a simple rename is what's going to happen overall. But if you see a connection that's missing, of course, let me know in the comment section down below. You can support the channel in other ways, subscribing to the channel, turning on those bell notifications, leaving your comments as always, and of course, sharing it across any platforms you want. We're going to try to get into live streaming. You saw the live stream yesterday. If you didn't, be sure to go watch that. We're going to try and continue that city of Forkland in the near future. That's all I got today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. This is Havoc. I'm out of here.